Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe, Jaya Prabhu Pada, Prabhu Pada, Prabhu Pada, Shila Prabhu Pada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Reading from Prabhupada, your everywhere we say. His Holiness Satsang Das Maharaj. This is in Vrindavan, August 4, 1974. When Prabhupada's car pulled up at the ISKCON property in Raman Reti, a group of devotees greeted him with kirtan and flowers. Some 25 devotees from temples around the world had already gathered for the grand opening celebration. And along with the Vrindavan devotees, they crowded happily around Srila Prabhupada. No formal walkways had been constructed, and Prabhupada walked through the half-constructed walls, past piles of sand and bricks, making his way toward the deity house. Even here, the lack of ornamentation and finishing was apparent, and rubble lay all around. What is this? Prabhupada demanded as he toured the construction site. There's nothing here. Where is the temple? You told me the temple was finished, Gurudas. Surabhi, Gunarnagar, and others directly responsible were unable to answer. Their faces went white. Prabhupada was furious. How can you open this? The visiting devotees also began speaking amongst themselves. It's not ready. How can we open? But Prabhupada, said one devotee, devotees from all over the world are coming. Stop them immediately, Prabhupada said. There will be no opening. Prabhupada had burst the bubble, the illusion that they would be ready for the grand opening. Prabhupada's anger was frightening, and the devotees who surrounded him were no longer carefree and joyful. You were going to open this temple, Prabhupada scoffed. The altar is ready, said Rishikesha, who had come from Japan to attend the opening. We can install the deity and you cannot open this temple, Prabhupada shouted. This temple is not completed. Prabhupada then walked into his house, followed by the Vrindavan managers and a few other leaders. Whoever would keep his distance from Prabhupada in this mood considered himself spared. Surabhi's wife ran off to pray to Krishna, afraid of Prabhupada's ferocity. In his room, Prabhupada's anger only increased. He yelled at Gurudas for mismanagement. He yelled at Surabhi. He yelled at all of them. No one dared to offer suggestions or excuses. There was nothing to do but turn white and become depressed. Prabhupada suddenly inquired whether the temple could be opened despite the mess. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, Chapter 16, Text 34. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Chitraketuruvacha Ajita Jita Samamati Bhi Ajita Jita Samamati Bhi Sadhuvir Bhavan Jitatma Bhi Bhavata Sadhuvir Bhavan Jitatma Bhir Bhavata Vichitas Te Pi Cha Bhajatam Vijitas Te Api Cha Bhajatam Akamatmanam Ya Atmado Ati Karuna Akatmanam Ya Atmado Ati Karuna Chitraketuruvacha Ajita Jita Samamati Bhi Sadhubir Bhavan Jitatma Bhir Bhavata Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam Akamatmanam Ya Atmado Ati Karuna
Mahatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
Chitraketuruvacha Ajita Jita Samamativi
Jita Jita Samamati.
Sadhubir Bhavan Chitatmabhir Bhavata
Sabir Bhavani Dharmabir Bhavata.
Vijitaste apicha bhajatam
Jitaste Picha Bhajatam.
Akatmanam ya atmadoti karuna
Akamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
Chitraketuruvacha
Chitraketuruvacha.
Ajita Jita Samamativi
Adita Jita Samamati.
Sadhubir Bhavan Chitatmabhir Bhavata
Sabir Bhavani Dharmabir Bhavata.
Vijitaste apicha bhajatam
Jitaste Picha Bhajatam.
Akamatmanam ya atmadoti karuna.
Akamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
This chant.
Chitraketuruvacha.
Chitraketuruvacha
Jita Samamati.
Ajita Samamati
Sabir Bhavani Dharmabir Bhavata.
Sarvir Bhavajita Matir Bhavata
Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam.
Vijitaste Pichapa Chitam
Akamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
Nakamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna Chitraketuruvacha
Chitraketuruvacha.
Ajita Jita Samamati
Ajita Jita Samamati.
Sarvir Bhavajita Matir Bhavata
Sabir Bhavani Dharmabir Bhavata.
Vijitaste Pichapa Chitam
Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam.
Akamatmanam Yatmato Tikaruna
Akamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
Chitraketuruvacha
Chitraketuruvacha
Ajita Jita Samamati
Ajita Jita Samamati.
Sarvir Bhavan Jita Namatir Bhavata
Sarvir Bhavajita Matir Bhavata
Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam
Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam
Atmadoti Karuna
Akamatmanam Yatmadoti Karuna.
Chitraketuruvacha
Chitraketuruvacha.
Kim Chitraketu said,
Vijitaste
Ajita,
Jita.
O my unconquerable Lord,
Oh, I am conqueror.
Jita, conquered, Samamati be
Samamati.
by persons who have conquered the mind, Sadhu be the devotees, Bhavan, your Lordship, Chitatma be who have completely controlled the senses, Bhavata by you, Vichita, conquered, te, api, also, cha, and, Bhajatam, to those who always engage in your service,
To those who always engage in your service,
Akama Atmanam,
Kama Atmana,
with no motives for material profit,
no motives material
yeah, who, Atmanda, giving yourself, Ati Karuna, extremely merciful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki. Chitraketu said, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them, and because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. But the Lord and the devotees both conquer. The Lord is conquered by the devotees, and the devotees are conquered by the Lord. Because of being conquered by one another, they both derive transcendental bliss from their relationship. The highest perfection of this mutual conquering is exhibited by Krishna and the gopis. The gopis conquered Krishna and Krishna conquered the gopis. Thus, whenever Krishna played his flute, he conquered the minds of the gopis, and without seeing the gopis, Krishna could not be happy. Other transcendentalists such as Jnanis and Yogis cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only pure devotees can conquer him. Pure devotees are described as samamati, which means that they never deviate from devotional service under any circumstances. It is not that devotees worship the Supreme Lord only when happy. They worship him even when in distress. Happiness and distress do not hamper the process of devotional service. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says that devotional service is ahetuki apratihata, unmotivated and uninterrupted. When a devotee offers devotional service to the Lord without any motive, anya abhinashita shunyam, his service cannot be hampered by any material condition, apratihata. Thus, a devotee who offers service in all conditions of life can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A special distinction between devotees and the other transcendentalists, namely the Jnanis and Yogis, is that Jnanis and Yogis artificially try to become one with the Supreme, whereas devotees never aspire for such an impossible accomplishment. Devotees know that their position is to be eternally servants of the Supreme Lord and never to be one with Him. Therefore, they are called Samamati or Chitatma. They detest oneness with the Supreme. They have no lusty desires for oneness. Instead, their desire is to be freed from all material hankering. Therefore, they are called Nishkama, desireless. A living entity cannot exist without desires, but desires that can never be fulfilled are called kama, lusty desires. Kamesteste rita jnana. Because of lusty desires, non-devotees are deprived of their intelligence. Thus, they are unable to conquer the Supreme Lord, whereas devotees, being freed from such unreasonable desires, can conquer the Lord. Such devotees are also conquered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they are pure, being free from all material desires, they fully surrender to the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord conquers them. Such devotees never aspire for liberation. They simply desire to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. Because they serve the Lord without desires for remuneration, they conquer the mercy of the Lord. The Lord is by nature very merciful, and when He sees that His servant is working without desires for material profit, naturally He is conquered. Devotees are always engaged in service. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvanya. All the activities of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Because of such devotion, the Lord gives Himself to His devotees as if they could use Him for any purpose they might desire. Of course, devotees have no purpose other than to serve. When a devotee fully surrenders and has no aspiration for material profit, the Lord certainly gives him all opportunities for service. This is the position of the Lord when conquered by His devotees. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीर धारी कृपाम्बुदीर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome everyone in the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Human life is meant for purification, which we understand in general, practicing Krishna consciousness or even not so practicing Krishna consciousness as well. Purification of one's existence. One level of purification is what? Getting rid of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, vanity, illusion, so on and so forth. That is there, one level of purification, one stream thought of purification. Real purification comes about when one is able to glorify. Real purification is actually glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Further real purification is glorification of the spiritual master. And even better real purification says glorification of Vaishnavas. This is Srimad Bhagavatam teaching us to be beggars of mercy, to be aspirants of mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. Not just me and Krishna, no. And not just, okay, me and Krishna and spiritual master, no. Complete package. Hari Guru Vaishnava. So, aspirants of mercy. And this will naturally, one will feel very much lacking of mercy or wanting or crying or craving for mercy when one is tasting slight bit of rasa in practice of devotional service. Coming across with devotees, when one takes into the process of bhakti yoga, in the assembly, in the association of devotees, when one starts chanting, when one starts reading, such purification never would have come about before, for sure. And then one would want to cry only for more mercy, beg for more mercy. And this is what King Chitraketu is experiencing. After going through the whole episode, then Narad Muni being enlightened by Narad Muni and taking shelter of Narad Muni, practicing mantra meditation, then he got darshan of his divine Lord. And now he's leaving us for our benefit these prayers, this mood, what mood to build up in devotional service. In this world, there's a big buzz for yoga, right? There's a big buzz for yoga. And sales of yoga mats have been high or good and might possibly keep on going high. We have in our assembly, we have a yoga teacher as well in Srimad Bhagavatam class today. Yoga begins with controlling mind and senses. That is the beginning of yoga. Otherwise, it is actually not yoga when I'm not controlling my mind and senses or whatever activity or exercise or engagement I'm engaged in, and it is not helping me control my mind and senses. It is not helping me free from bodily identity. It is not helping me raise my energy to a higher level than the bodily needs. So yoga begins from there, and it doesn't just end there. That is just the bare minimum beginning, say, and it goes further on and further on. Culmination is in love. Ultimate culmination is in love, which is ever expanding and ever more, furthermore. So the translation says, "O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses." One has to be peaceful amidst the tribulations which are coming in life. Somehow we need to show Krishna some sort of dedication and sincerity and gratitude, right? Life will offer us ups and downs. Material life means upheavals. Material life means upheavals only. There's always sometimes some good news, sometimes some bad news, sometimes some good news, bad news. Bad news is bad news, even good news is a bad news itself for devotee. Good news is no good news for a devotee. because it is all in the duality, right? It is all in the within the dual sense. So how could anything be as such good? And the devotee is aspiring for ultimate good. So in order for us to show that aspiration and dedication towards our purpose of practicing Krishna consciousness, we have to be very peaceful amidst the tribulation. Like we do not know what a spiritual body is like, but at least I have this material body for now. So let me try and respect this material body. Let me try and respect the time I have got in my hand. Let me try and respect the association and all the things which have been provided by Krishna, say job, house, and all, and dovetail them. If I can show this much sincerity to Krishna that yes, Krishna, I respect this body, and this body is not for enjoyment. It is not for my enjoyment, it is not for someone else's enjoyment. This body is to be utilized in your service, and I'm trying to utilize this body in your service. So, if Krishna sees, yes, there is someone who is actually so much valuing his material body, then that wouldn't that raise Krishna's confidence that yes, he or she will value his spiritual body as well. If one can learn to value his material body, if one can learn to value time, then will he not? Then Krishna has not the level of confidence would expand then further. All this eventually like coming through all material desires, cessation of material desires. So many prayers like we see Srimad Bhagavatam Kunti Maharani, she is praying that you are attainable to those who are akinchana. Yodulavo akinchana chagochara. So you are perceived or attainable to those who are akinchana. Real attention, real attention means what? This this consciousness wherein everything belongs to Lord, and in that everything I am also included. Everything belongs to Lord, in that everything I am also included, and the Lord belongs to me. That sort of ownership or that sort of possession has to be developed. The Lord. And who does the Lord belong to? Yes, Lord belongs to me. So we have this sort of relationship with Krishna. Bilva Mangal Thakur, in his bhajan Krishna, then every devotee we will find, say the Pandavas, Bilva Mangal Thakur, King Chitraketu, Bharat Maharaj, every devotee will find they had some turning point in their life. They had some event come through in their life. And mostly it is a bit, materially speaking, it is a bit of an adverse event. And that is a very much a push, a motive. And then he took into Krishna consciousness wholesome, stalwart devotee in Acharya, he took a wholesome into Krishna consciousness. And Krishna then appeared as in his Gopal form, Krishna appeared towards Bilvamangal Thakur. And he was kind of playing hide and seek with Bilvamangal Thakur. came with a glass of milk, drinking milk and playing a bit of hide and seek. And Vrindavan Thakur, by touching him and by the aura, by the smell of Krishna, he was not able to see, but through his inner eyes, he was able to see that yes, this is my Krishna who has come. And then Krishna was creating a waiting period for Vrindavan Thakur and left away said. Vrindavan Thakur says in his prayers that Krishna, you are supremely independent and it suits you as well. Fine, so be it, you still remain supremely independent. So you do not want to help me just now, you do not want to give me darshan, you do not want to engage, reciprocate just now with me, fine. But let me also exercise my minute independence to the fullest capacity. You do not want to help me, and I also do not want to leave you. Now what will you do? You don't want to help me, and I do not want to leave you. So there should be no iota of time and space spared in my consciousness, wherein there is not remembrance of Krishna, wherein there is not glorification of Krishna.